Trucking through.
3, 2, 1. We're live when we're trucking through. This is episode 40. Whoa, of the Zach Homo Show. What's up, everybody? Thank you for the continued support and tuning in. I'm here this is episode 3 of Ashley and I's relationship series, and had to run here and run a little bit late, but I'm here. Man, babe, your tan is kicking in.
I know,
girl.
it is kicking in. I'm sure. Just got spray tan. Guess what I got going on Sunday?
Hey, what's going on?
Wedding dress shopping.
Oh, let's go.
You know, I can't look the same color as the dress, so I just need to distinguish a difference between my skin color.
Need a little bit of color. I love when Ash gets a spray tan. I tell it's Andrew know what I'm talking about. It's a waffle day.
Stop. Moving on.
So I'm super. Your teeth are crazy white right now.
Good.
It's like the first time I get to look at you since I walked upstairs.
I hope this is all like attraction that you're saying and not just like, whoa, you look like an Oompa Loompa or something.
I mean, I just like it. You look different, so I like that.
Okay.
Know what I'm saying?
I can get with that. Same thing with the beard. I get it.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh.
Yeah, keep it fresh. Keep them guessing. So what's up, guys? We're back. We're back on an episode of the relationship series, and Ash and I are really excited. We appreciate all the feedback. We have a couple of the episodes in the bank right now we'll be dropping on you guys, and we're hoping to drop one a week, and just kind of until we just burn this candle loose. And we're excited though. Ash, what's been going on?
Oh, what's been going on? So I feel like I'm like a baby. I have an ear infection. That's been really fun. Just I sound a little nasally right now. So just, working at the salon and just trying to deal with this weather right now because it's just really bumming me out. I'm definitely not a winter girl.
No, winter sucks. But you know what? Today's not as bad because the sun is out.
I know. That's so true. That is a very good point.
I truly feel like I have seasonal depression.
No,
whenever
it's a real thing.
Starts to get a little bit like cold, and I can deal with the cold a little bit. If it's snowing, like cool, at least it's snowing and it's cold. Truck stuff, got a new truck this year, so I'm all about getting that motherfucker in 2-wheel drive, do donuts. But
I love it,
dude. The not having sun.
No, I mean it really does. It's put me in a just full body funk. Just with everything. I feel like, oh my gosh, my workouts aren't going well. I don't know. Everything's been crap.
You pulled 165 for 5 today, which is pretty badass.
Well, yeah, you've been crushing it. You have talk about your meet that you've come. You have a really big.
Yeah, big competition coming up May 11th, I believe. It's called Beast of the Bluegrass. So it's an Arnold qualifier. So if I do well in the competition, I think it's first or second. I'm not 100% sure. I'm obviously anticipating and planning on winning, as humbly saying that I'm training really hard right now, and the numbers are very attainable and achievable. This will be one calendar year in May that I've been in strongman now, so I've really enjoyed it. I'm loving the camaraderie of the sport. A couple of guys I actually competed against in one of the shows a couple months back, might have been my second or third show. I hit them up, and 2 of the guys who beat me, I'm like, yo, you guys go to this competition. I want them to be there. Yeah. So both of them were really good and kind of a couple of the top guys in the strongman at 200-pound weight division. So I want to make sure they're there, and I have good competition to compete against. And I'm sure that competition is supposed to be bringing, though, typically Arnold qualifiers bring some high level athletes in. So yeah, me and the guys we're really excited about it. Training's going good. I'm eating like crazy. It's the first time in my life that my nutrition has met my frequency of training.
That's so great.
So yeah, it's good. I'm really excited about it. Obviously the support.
Pumped.
Yeah, the support from you is helping a ton. Always feeding my ass.
I wouldn't say I can keep up with it, but I try.
Yeah, that was a struggle we had actually.
That was a big struggle in our relationship.
Oh,
Speaking in a relationship, oh my god.
Speaking about relationships,
I remember yelling at him one day and saying, "I am not responsible for your stomach," because it was just I was so used to just eating your standard 3 meals a day, and my portion sizes were never really that large.
Yeah.
When he's used to eating 7 meals a day, triple my portion sizes. So I'd always be like, "Hey babe, I made you dinner," and it would be he was like, "Okay, this is an appetizer."
It's not it's seriously, it's just. You're 110 pounds. I'm double you.
Yeah, I know.
Double the person you are. It's funny though. Crew's I'm 4 times the person Crew is, and we eat the same.
No joke. He literally eats the same amount that you eat. It is nuts.
Yes, this kid's taking in thousands of calories a day. It's so bizarre how he doesn't just shit 24/7.
I mean, he's in there for a while when he does.
He's constantly eating, but so I've really been enjoying relationships. We talked a lot about I don't want to say negativity, but struggles and adversities in relationship. And I love talking about that. But I was saying on this episode, we chat a little bit about the things that we like most about each other.
I know. Let's do that.
So,
I love that.
what are 3 things that you really like about me?
Oh, wow. Just put me right
right on the spot.
You know what? My favorite thing, and I don't tell you this enough, which is why I also love doing this series, because we just get to, like, get real with each other, is I just love, like, it doesn't matter if it is a nasty day out. Zach is just always so full of life, and he is just you. I guess it's you're right here. Like, you just always find a way to just make something that can just be such a bad thing good, and it's just something that I'm not naturally, like, good at. I just have more of that realist in me that just kind of always weighs everything, where you just are always like, nope, we don't have to weigh it because it's gonna come around. And that's really helped me grow as a person.
Oh, thanks, babe. That's really nice of you to say that.
I know. Well, can I keep going?
Yeah, for sure. Keep this thing rolling. I'm all about my ego right now. Feeling good.
You literally make me laugh on a regular basis. I think people just do not, like, realize how much humor in a relationship is just so important. Yeah. Like, we just, there's just times too where we'll, like, argue or something, and we'll just, like, I don't know, just start making fun of our arguments to each other. And you're really good at doing that too. That's one of my favorite things. You just always make me laugh, babe. And it's so funny, and I promise I don't pretend to be sick, but I love when I'm sick, because he turns into just like this ultra mom, and it is just not typically like how he is on a regular basis, if I'm being real. So he is like extra. He's like making sure I'm okay, on top of, scheduling his clients different so he can be home and catch up on laundry and make sure all the duties are done around the house and stuff. So
remember last time telling the story?
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, this is so great. So I get these just ridiculous migraines I've had ever since I was in high school, and I usually get these really bad ones about twice a year or something, where they completely, he's never really actually seen a full blown one. So when was this?
It's like
5 months ago.
6 months ago, yeah.
So I had one of my ultra migraines coming on, and I was kind of worried because he had never seen me like this. So in order for me to seriously pass this, I have to take a crazy amount of prescription medication just to basically knock me out. So I'm half knocked out with these muscle relaxers. He comes home and he's just like a mess seeing me on the ground, and he's just
my gosh, this is the scariest thing.
It was. I mean, he was panicking.
She was on the ground shaking, and I'm like,
yeah.
There's nothing she can do and nothing I can do to make her feel better, and I'm such a fixer. So these are
So he's just got this nervous energy about him where he can't just sit still. So he's bouncing around the house or whatever. So then all of a sudden I'm just back in the bedroom and the door's closed, and I just start to smell this smoke, and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? And he comes walking down the room, and he peeks his head in. Now, granted, I'm obviously just totally
on her deathbed.
Yeah, I'm not really on planet Earth right now. And he comes in and he goes, babe, the house isn't burning down, but I burnt in the microwave. Don't worry about it. I'm closing the door. And I'm like, what? So come to find out, those boil in a bag rice things. Well, he was just so stressed trying to just get everything ready. He threw the bag of rice in the bowl without water in it. Set it for 10 minutes.
Caught it on fire.
Dude, straight. I'm not kidding you. It was until I want to say
last week.
Yeah, for real. I mean, that our microwave, I did everything, vinegar, lemon, anything just to get this. I mean, it was just in our house.
It was bad.
It was so bad. Anytime we microwave everything, it was oh, there we go.
Super disgusting smell. I had the whole house. So I turned the heat up. Well, the heat was up 70 something, whatever.
Because you opened up all the doors.
And I had to open up all the windows and doors, and I didn't want to freeze Ash.
Well, and then here I had a migraine, and so that smell made me nauseated. It was just a whole big thing.
I tried my best.
Oh my gosh, that's literally, I would say, top, just right off the top of my head. There's so many more, but that's just what came to mind.
Yeah, it goes to show just how much I appreciate you. That's one of my 1,000 things I can talk about with you that I love about you, is that you take care of all that stuff. So much of the cooking and so much of the cleaning, and put the waters in the bowl before we boil the rice. And so when I do that stuff, I had to do that at one time in my life, a little bit more frequently when I lived by myself. And I've gotten coddled for sure.
Yeah.
But I get in a rush. I come home and Ash has 4 burners going and cooking something in a crock pot, and there's things in the microwave, and then she's playing a board game with crew, and I'm like, how are you doing this? She's cleaning and cooking, doing everything, and I can't even boil a bag of rice.
Dude,
and get ready to go at the same time.
Oh, babe, it's why I love you, though. Don't ever change, honey.
I'm not going to. I hope not. So I was actually writing some things down as you were saying this. I was thinking about the first thing I love most about you. And
so you had time to prep.
Yeah, I did, for sure. I anticipated all of this. No, I was just trying to like weigh which ones I thought actually for the content purposes, which ones I thought were, in my top 5 or 10 or whatever.
Okay.
The first one is obviously the way you make me feel. I love the whole motherly, how you take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
I love coming home and being greeted by you at the door, and I really love that about you and just how much you love crew. That's definitely one of my that attracted me to you from the beginning. I love that you're older than me.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that because I think you have this wisdom about you. I'd say another one is your perseverance through life, all your adversities and challenges you've gone through. I'm just so inspired by, and I tell you this on a consistent basis, just how I feel like you need this reminded more frequently than what I'd remind you, is that your perseverance is absolutely incredible, and the things you've gone through and the adversities and the challenges, and you just continue to weather the storms and keep a positive outlook on life and continue to keep trucking through. I love that about you, and I think that's awesome. And this is my top thing ever, is obviously that you led me to Jesus. But I go to church on Sundays and I look around, and Ash had a bad experience at church at one time, as we talked about, and she went to this mega church. Essentially, Trader Point is this massive church, and there's thousands of people meeting at these sermons, and Ash shows up by herself with crew, just totally broken and just looking for Jesus and trying to get back on track. And I just couldn't imagine walking in these doors by myself. It's very intimidating, and it's intimidating because you just got burnt from a church, and now you look around and we take up, there's 15, 20 people there because of you. And I'm just like, man, look, Ash, Jesus only had 12 disciples when he started. Look at you. Now I'm just playing Jesus. I love you.
I love you, man.
But it's just really amazing, to see that. And I'm just filled with so much warmth when I look around and see, when we got baptized, to see all our friends and our family there, and just every weekend to see them keep showing back up. And, Charlie and Shelby and me and Charlie's in small group together. And I'm like, man, that's because of you. If you never led me to church, I don't know if Charlie would have been this far in his faith. And if we had been in small group together, and and I would build the relationships that I have in the community, and all of it's because that you were courageous enough to get and go that day. And
thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm getting all emotional, you guys. Oh.
But the reason I actually wanted to I want to kind of bring this full circle though, and even if this is the only thing we can talk about on the podcast and we're done after this, that's fine. I want to encourage people. This is something I'm actually doing a lot more frequently. Is the other night when I was just whispering to you, telling you things that I love about you and different things like that. I just don't feel like we do that enough with our significant others, that we're constantly giving our best self to the world. And then we get home and we're kind of there to relax. This person knows me. They know I've been through a long day. They know I just need my space and my time. And, that becomes habit. And then we stop, actually saying the things that got us to the point that we're at, that to begin a relationship, do anything, and anything at all to, at that time, half time just to get laid, but, do anything to build that love, and so that's something I'm just really focusing on right now, is telling Ashley the things that I love most about her on more of a consistent basis. And that's why I'm excited. I want to do it on the podcast openly and publicly, so you guys kind of see how we maneuver through it. This would be an actual conversation that her and I would have, and probably would get a little bit more emotional naturally if we didn't have the mics in front of us. But I just want to encourage, especially the guys out there, do it, because we're so prideful and hard-nosed, and usually the girls are a little bit more softer with their approach and stuff. But I can't tell you guys how much it's benefited our relationship by just me being open and honest and vulnerable with Ashley, and it's helped a ton.
I love that. Well, and to go off of that too, with the women out there listening to this, I think that sometimes, I love that challenge that Zach's, presented in our relationship. And I think too, women being emotional creatures and sensitive creatures, they feel that, that just makes them feel so much better. But also with men, I really enjoy affirming Zach, with how hard he works for our family. And it's something that I still don't feel like I do enough. He says I take care of all this stuff or whatever, but I watch him day in and day out, fight for just our family. And so I would definitely encourage the women out there to affirm your man more. So even if you don't feel that you're getting oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this, and my list is so long and all these different things, it's just remembering that we're wired differently, and that just because they aren't meeting your maybe standards, or that doesn't mean that they're not working hard in other ways. And so I definitely would say mentioning to your man how much you respect them and appreciate how hard they work for you and to have the things that you want. That's something that I really feel like the women out there can be challenged with, with their men too, because that's something that I know that every time I tell you, like, I love how hard you work for us, honey. Like, you know, I appreciate it and everything. I know that means the world to you.
Oh yeah, I light up. I mean, that's you know, the whole Love and Respect. That's actually a book that I'm listening to right now, and how, you know, women need love and men need respect, and you saying these things helps. Like, it just lights me up and it feels so good. And the affirmations, you know, whenever I have to discipline crew on something, or me and him have a breakthrough in a relationship, you just coming by and be like, wow, that was really awesome what you said, or I'm so encouraged by what you did, you know, and just different things. Like, you know, it really just gets me going whenever I am at the gym on a Saturday and have a great day, and you're like, man, babe, you're freaking crushing it. Like, I tag Ashley in my Instagram videos. Like, I know she's going to see them, but I tag them because I like want her to see them. When I send them, like, before I even put them on Instagram, I send them to her, like, check out what I did, babe. And, you know, she just encourages me, wow, great job, babe, that's awesome. And, you know, she says the same thing 6 days a week, you know, like, great job, you're doing awesome. But it's never gets old, because, you know, it's like, I do work really hard, like when I'm talking like my strength sports, you know, I work really hard at the gym, and I'm doing this, you know, I want to get better and I want to win these things and stuff, but I love being able to do it and kind of like show off a little bit for you.
Yeah, I love it.
And like you kind of reaffirm that, you know, and man, babe, you're looking like, dude, there's nothing, you know, I know the guys can say the same thing out there listening to this. There's nothing better when I'm looking in a mirror and I'm just feeling yoked. You're like, man, babe, your shoulders, you're like just grabbing me. I'm just like,
you're so
damn, you know, I'm feeling good about myself. But that's so much that, you know, feeding the ego a little bit. And I mean, it's really, it's kind of like, at first it's kind of awkward. It's kind of weird to say it or whatever. And then once you get in a habit of it, it's kind of like, we just don't break that for anyone or anywhere. Like when I'm at the gym, I'm just like, man, damn, baby, your ass is looking good.
Yeah.
Like,
we're
like,
very just who we are all the time.
Just open. But I mean, even with your clients, like Amy's like 40 years old. I'm like, how old is Amy? 35?
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'll say 35.
Yeah.
I was like, we love Amy, and I was like, man, Amy, look at your butt. Are you freaking kidding me? You're killing it.
I know, she's so great.
But it's like, we don't hear that like often, you know, like very, very seldom are we encouraged that way. We're typically told the things that we're not doing well in the relationship or at the gym, if we're doing a machine wrong or something. How often do you walk by like, wow, great job doing that? That's something I've always been like, even if it wasn't a great job, I could have made them better. I'm like, yo, great job, man. Like, I could tell you really worked hard through that set.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and PDA too, just in general, like talking about PDA, I feel like that's always been something that our society has tried to like limit. Oh, yeah. You know, PDA, like, oh my gosh, don't. And here's what it is. Don't make me uncomfortable because I don't really like my significant other enough to really express that in public. Or, you know, it might not just be something that someone feels comfortable doing, but that to me just is putting on a show for other people. You know, and who we are at our house is who we are at the store. It's who we are, you know, at the gym, like he was saying. It's who we are at church. You know? Like, it's who we are all the time.
Yeah, I've grabbed your butt multiple times.
Yeah.
At Traders Point Church.
Sorry, Aaron. Sorry, song. I don't know if we've heard that, but yeah.
Not while I was worshiping, no.
I think it's just too, it's really, you know, I think that so many of us really try to fit a mold when really we just need to like be a mold. Like be your own mold, you know, and don't try to just fit someone else's idea.
That's like construction workers, you know, so many people can understand this, and Charlie, especially from the small areas that you and I are from, like, oh, going home to see the old lady. I'm like, if I ever called Ash an old lady, she'd fucking kill me.
Go see the wife.
Going to see, like, it's a problem. And then, you know, guys just get in this habit of just complaining about their significant other, and the circle goes round and round. And I knew that whenever I was establishing my team and stuff like that, just wasn't something that we, like, when we talk about our significant others, it's in a positive manner. You know, it's in manners that I don't want to be like that. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to feel like it's a chore for me to have to go home and spend time with my significant other. Like, I want to get home. Like, I'm working my ass off 12 hours a day to get myself home to spend time with Ashley. I stay up late. I don't always get 8 hours of sleep because I want to spend extra time with Ashley. Like, and I think a lot of guys are like that, but they just have a hard time saying it because everyone else is saying something different.
Yes.
It's you know, when you're different, you know, you stand out a little bit, and people typically don't like, you know, that's maybe negative. They look at that in a negative context.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and two, it's like, I think sometimes, you know, it's like, well, she didn't this, well, he didn't this, so I'm not gonna this, and I'm not gonna that. So then when you're not around your significant other and all you're preaching is just negativity, you're just creating more of it. It's a real thing. And just watch, just truly, I would challenge somebody out there who's in a relationship that maybe you don't feel like you're getting filled from your spouse, to fill them and then see what happens after a week. really truly see what happens after a week of filling them. You know, don't point out what they haven't done or now you're doing more or whatever. Like, really work your hardest to try to fill them in their needs, and you will set that example, and you will start to then to speak differently about them, and then they will then not really be able to speak negative about you, because then they're like, what's going on? You know, it's that shift in that mindset, and, you know, just creating that positive environment for your relationship to live in.
What I really love about Ash is she went through this, like, you're so fast at, like, adapting, like what's the Marines thing, like adapt, change, and overcome, or adapt and overcome. Like, that's like you're so badass at that. So,
Thanks.
So, like, but things you probably even recognize, like, I might say this, you might not even recognize this, but it's factual and you'll understand after I say it. Whenever crew was going to school, like the first like 5-6 months, even maybe 3 months, I don't know what it was, you'd ask him, hey crew, how's your day? And you're realizing you weren't getting much out of him. So you just changed your approach, and you'll do different things. Like, what was the most fun thing you did today? So instead of asking him how about his whole day, you asked him about something that enlightened his mood. And he's like, oh, the most fun I had today was whatever me and Bob went and did, whatever his little friend's name is. Who's that little kid? He always plays Preston. Whatever, me and Preston went and did this, and but you're able to get more out of him, and you've done that a ton with me subconsciously as well. Like, where you ask me certain things that bring something out of me where I can get talking about something, and then after that, I just roll into my day naturally. So you're real good at that. You're really good at pulling communication out of people.
That's awesome.
Which is cool. So I would, encourage that as well. So if you're having a hard time, like a lot of times with me, you're like, hey, how's your day? Like, that's an everyday thing. And we go through our day with each other, and we don't just say good, it's good, it's whatever. It's like we kind of get into it a little bit, and how's your day or whatever it was. And sometimes it just turned into a bitch fest, like some things that we just bitching about, and next thing you know, you're just venting to your significant other all the time. And if all you do is just vent to your significant other, I'm telling you, like, we've been down this path before where it's worn me out. I'm like, all right, like, I get it. Like
your day was shit,
your
my
day
was
was shit. It's like, but like this reliving it though, it's just more negative energy. It's more negative momentum. So rather than I'd be like, hey, how's your day? On a scale 1 to 10 or whatever it might be, or how's your day? And what's the best part about your day? Talk about the positive within your day. However, don't suppress feelings.
Right.
If you need to talk about something, you need to open it up. But if you find yourself and your significant other, sit down and talk with them. Hey, every time we talk about our day, I realize all we do is bitch about it.
Yes. Exactly.
Maybe we should change it, because that means that's how we're starting to view each other now. It's like, I'm looking at you as if you're always angry. Like, I know you had happy parts about your day, and you're looking at me as I'm always angry, but I did have happy parts about my day. Let's just try to put our focus on the happiness. If you spend more time in happiness with your significant other, more time in happiness throughout your day, that's going to start becoming your new norm.
For sure.
But if you're just constantly complaining, looking at situations through a negative lens, you'll receive life in a negative lens.
That's powerful. It's so true. Well, and a big root of that is Stephen Furtick said it, and I just loved this example. He said, you know why they call it a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Facebook feed? Because it literally eats you alive. Like, it feeds you negativity. And I was like, whoa, that is so true. But I think that is just catapulting off of, I jump on Facebook, and it's almost like I challenge myself to find a positive article about something. You know, I had this incredible story of this client. This is a real story. Her cousin was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor, and the only place that they could get this fixed was in Chicago. And this kid's like 10 or 11. Their parents work, and the cost it would take to go up there, driving and all that stuff. So this person who owns a private jet heard about his story and said that they wanted to fly them every week to these doctor's appointments, 45-minute, basically round trip. So it wasn't that big of a deal, and he was able to overcome it, and great. But she said, I know, awesome, right? Man. But her and I were talking, and it was just so true. And she said, why doesn't the news talk about those kind of things? And then what ends up happening is we, as a consumer, we read all these things because it then provides more negativity, and then we comment, and then it's more negativity, so it makes the news ratings go up because all the positive, happy feeling ones, they don't have the drama to it. And so what ends up happening is it just feeds at our soul, and then all we see when we're scrolling through our day is the negative parts of it.
So I've been watching this.
And then we bring it home, and then we share those parts of it too. And so it really is, you guys, like, it's a conscious decision to find what was good about your work day. Work is work to everybody. At the end of the day, you can still love what you do, but it still be a work day and things still go wrong and things still be stressful. But there's always a way that you can make something positive out of it. But it really, truly takes like sitting there and actually practicing it. The first few times that I did it in my situation, I would talk to Zach. It was hard because all I could think about were the stressful parts of my day. And it's all I ever focused on. And then I started then, trying to be like, well, I mean, that was stressful, but then this one lady, blah, blah, and then it's totally flipped.
Yeah. We really found a compromise with that.
Yes.
Because I remember it's like you would talk about your day and it really just wore me out because you're like up, down, up, down. We talked about this actually on the podcast the other day. Right. And then I started realizing like, whoa, you have a really strenuous job on your mental and on your emotional because
right.
you're dealing with people with cancer and the next person has a baby and you're just like highs and lows. And that was, for me, I was like, okay, like, I can't hear this every single day. So we compromised with it. You just started, had this, but it was good. And you talked about certain highs and certain lows and evened it out a lot. And we compromised in the middle. I actually tried to understand you more. And also you stopped talking so much about, we were able to find highlights.
Right. Well, and the reason why I was so passionate about that, like when Stephen Furtick said that, because I know there's somebody out there who was that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was literally just eating me alive, all this negativity stuff. I would just follow all these and I'd be like, I can't believe that. And can you believe the president this? And I can't believe that, because that's the only thing that's shown. And so then when I started to be really conscious of it and very aware of what I was putting into myself, I then really started to catch it.
I mean, even down to music. I talked about this before, like even certain music. I won't listen to certain music outside the gym. Like in the gym, I'm like listening to gangbang, fucking crazy music, rappers like Kevin Gates and MGK and Eminem. And outside, I'm listening to like gospel music or podcasts because I got to be careful of what I fill my soul with. Yeah. And a lot of people don't look at it like that. Oh, like music's not going to do that. Like, listen, if you start hearing it enough, it's like it starts to become normalized. Yeah. At the end of the day, like it's become normalized to the point that some of the most famous people in the world right now are in prison for horrible acts.
I remember people being pumped when T.I. was being released because he had a new song that he just released.
Like, what? Like, I love Cardi B. We're having like a Cardi B themed, aren't you doing a Cardi B themed?
Bridal shower.
Bridal shower. Like, bro, we love her. But I don't give a fuck about her political views.
No.
But she's always talking about it. She's like 23 years old. Who gives a fuck what Cardi B got to say? She's barely old enough to vote.
I know. Well,
and we're worried about what she got to say. Like,
yeah.
Like, I love Cardi B. She's great and stuff. But it's like, and not that your age determines on this. I'm not being biased or passive aggressive. I'm just simply saying it's like, dude, she's a rapper. Like, who cares? Like, just because she has a platform doesn't mean she's educating political views. Another thing that drives me nuts, and I'll get on people's, especially Rich, he's always posted very biased shit, and so is his dad. They're both polar opposites, and they're like always going on each other's stuff. And so this guy, Rich's dad, he'll post something about him not liking Trump or whatever it is, and people will be arguing back and forth. And you hear people calling the other person, "Oh, you're dumb. You're so stupid." I'm like, this guy's probably really intelligent, at least in something. Like, he's either really good at working on cars, or he's like really good at his job. Like, he's intelligent somewhere. But because he has a different political view than you, you automatically say he's stupid or he's dumb or you're a horrible person. You don't know this, and I can't believe this. It's like, man, take a step back for a second. Like, quit putting your identity in somebody who can't even have the ability to. One person can't be the president, period.
Right, no.
Just period. And what cracks me up is when Christians get into it. I'm like, y'all know that God orchestrates this. God's in control. So for you to get upset and frustrated, and it's going to be like, I've been saying some unpopular shit on Facebook and stuff and Twitter that don't get very many likes recently. I've been noticing people don't like unpopular opinions. Okay. But that's something I've really been noticing, especially with Christians. Like, they'll say, oh, they'll do all this gossiping and they'll be so stressed out about the president to the point they're fucking going crazy. And I'm like, wait, if you really believe though, like, God's in control, so why are you stressing it?
Right.
But they hate to hear that.
Oh no, that's
hard truth though. If you really believe, that's
just like what I just in the other day put up a post about, like, the person who suffered the most, if you're a Christian, was Jesus. You know what I mean? That's just part of, that's I love part. That post, yeah, that is part of all of this. The Bible just fuels stories of just reminding everybody that, like, just because you believe in God doesn't mean that, like, there still isn't pain and struggle of this world. Just bearing that with him makes it just a lot more peaceful. That doesn't then mean that, like, I mean, there was corrupt things that happened in biblical time,
corrupt shit happening in religion right now. I mean, you just fucking look at Pennsylvania and all these priest raping these kids, like disgusting, like the most sinful act.
Right.
Just, I mean, most men are filled with so much hatred for something like that. Like, put me in a room with this guy for 1 minute, and I'll you just get this frustrated about it. And like, we're broken.
We are broken.
We're broken as humanity. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to get into the abortion stuff and all that crap. Just one thing I do find amusement in is, we go nuts over a gorilla getting shot. I don't think, that's sad. We go nuts over people hunting lions who spend thousands of dollars to get it done and go out and do this stuff. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, and we go nuts about it. And then we legally vote in different rights with abortions and things. It's like, but you still have people who are pissed about it. Don't get me wrong, but it's just different. We live in a different time, and keeping our minds open is going to be keeping our minds open and trying to find peace and keeping our opinions to ourselves. And when you see something like this abortion thing, and if you're real pro-choice or you're pro-life, whatever, either or, whichever side you want to be on, instead of just going to Facebook and putting some hatred comment out, just put something good out.
Yes.
Something has nothing to do with either of that. Put something out like, man, me and my husband had a great dinner. We're super excited to get to a small group this week. Hope y'all are having a great day.
Yeah,
it's like when I read something like that, and I see my Twitter figuring it, and I put 150 characters that are all like my opinion that's biased because I just generated it from my own understanding.
Right.
I delete it and I just put win the day.
Yeah.
Or just something just totally different. It's because I don't need to. I don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
That's what it really
I love
comes
what you
down to.
Well, and too about what you said, like, God is in control of who is in control. And a lot of people just don't understand that because they're like, well, if you believe in God, then how is there so many bad things and stuff? And I think that my biggest answer for that, especially, and usually it's the parents who can understand this at its core, is, God giving us free will. There was a sermon I listened to, and it was so put perfectly about God's biggest enemy is actually human pride. And human's biggest enemy is the devil. So basically, God is reigned over all, but he has allowed us free will. That's a true parent. A true parent who loves their child knows that what they're about to do is wrong, but we also know that the only way that we can love and allow them to figure it out is for them to do it on their own. And that's something that I really truly think that a lot of us just get so much anger because, like, how can God let this happen? Or how can God this? And how can all of these things go on? But we live in a broken world, and God has given us free will to choose. And we have a enemy who's fighting for our heart and who's also, we have then God who's fighting for our heart too. And the biggest barrier between us and God is our pride of letting that down and really seeing what it means to walk through struggle with him and not blame it on him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just really felt like,
oh, that's powerful. Yeah. We always want to push to blame. We never want to take ownership for it.
Or we just, or like people who just are like, well, how can you be a Christian? Or if you are a Christian, like, like God's mad at you, or it's just like all these different like accusations or things where it's just like, people, you are just so like, who are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why don't you just try your hardest just to find your own relationship with him? Like, it's like parents who try to tell other parents how to parent. I think we all know who we're talking about here. Like parents who try, you know that feeling where it's like, that what you have with your kid is something that nobody else will understand. And so you really need to watch your judgmental actions before you then, until you can discover your own relationship with your God.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember growing up, my mom would get flack. I mean, she talked to us about this all the time about like certain parents would just like tell my mom, like openly tell my mom they didn't like how that she was raising me and different like the boundaries that my mom maybe not have set that people didn't think, but me and my mom had trust. Like my mom always knew where I was at and always knew what I was doing, like everything.
And now look at
like
your
when
mom
I was
now.
doing pills, I told my mom like, hey, I'm doing this. Like my mom's like, listen, you get straight up. You can't make this a habit. I'm parked out every day doing cocaine. My mom knew about it. Everything I've ever done, my mom knew about it because I felt like I could tell her about it, and that's why I just never feel like I've been trapped in it.
Wow.
Having that ability to be able to do that. And I actually got this on my Twitter one time. Some guy goes, I really love the fact that you're open, different things. He goes, but I think as a man of God that you portray yourself to be, you should really focus on not cursing.
I remember that.
And it's kind of like took me the back seat. It's because my sin's public. You can point it out. Yeah, I can't. Sorry that your sins might not be public. You might
Your
not
sins might be a porn addiction at 3:00 in the morning that nobody knows about besides yourself, but because Zach's sin is out there in the public, you think you have every right to say whatever you think.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're really you're really a man of God.
Yes. Yeah. It's so it's like, when you hear stuff like that, it's like, man, that's why I'm so vocal with the things I struggle about and how I'm not perfect and I don't have it figured out, and that's okay. Like, even on top of that, I'm not even trying to figure it all out. It's not like I'm like, yeah, I'm not perfect. I know I'm not going to figure it out all. I know that I'm never going to have it all figured out. Mm-hmm. But I'm just going to keep on trying to become a little bit better. I'm not going to try to have it all figured out one day because I know I'll never reach that. That's literally placing a void inside of my heart that I can never get out. Mm-hmm. So why are we searching for perfection?
Yeah, that's so true. And we do. I mean, so many people, it's all about your morale. Like that's a religion.
Yeah.
Is morale, is how am I acting? Am I perfect? Am I this? That's its own religion. That's not Christianity. You know what I mean? And that's something that a lot of people, when I hear them say things like that, or, and I've gotten many views on how I parent very publicly with different things with Crew, but, I also have very intimate moments with Crew that no one else knows about because he feels safe to then come to me and talk to me about things that he's never shared with anybody. Yeah. And it's all due to the unpopular way that I parent. Yeah. Because I have no desire to popular parent. I have no desire to catch up with the Pinterest moms and,
fuck
do you know what I mean?
Nah,
but seriously,
totally. Make sure he's eating the healthiest and doing this and portraying to be something you're not on the outside, from the outside looking in. I'd rather be real. I mean, my mom raised me to be real. That's just point blank what it is. So much of my stuff goes out of my mom. Like, we never pushed anything under the rug. If we had a problem, we talked about it. Yeah. It's just really what it came down to. So we was able to handle controversy a lot better. Yes. And you see these parents just trying to keep up with the next parent, and what we base it all off of is who has the nicest car, the nicest money, who's wearing the nicest clothes, and whose son's doing the best at football. So we want to be just like those parents, because then we think that we can be just like them, and the society's going to look at us and put us on this pedestal. And all it is comparing ourselves, just trying to be like saying that you're better than other people. That's all that is.
Right. In the grand scheme of it, that's all it is.
That's all that is. You're just trying to be better than other people. What it really comes down to. You're not trying to be your best self. You're just trying to be better than Zach and Ash. Yeah. Charlie and Shelby. You're really not trying to be the best. You're just trying to be better than everyone else. Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it?
No, that's such a fight. My gosh, that is. And I see it so much now that Crew's in school too. I knew that side of things was going to get exposed, but I just still look around and, I'm just like, man, if we could just all parent confidently in who we are as people and, with our kids. And I just really feel like there would be such less bullying and there'd be such less judgment amongst kids too, because, their parents are teaching them black and white ways of living. And the biggest thing I feel that kids need to be equipped with is it's gray. Yeah. It's always gray. Yep. That's how life should always be viewed. It's rolling with the punches. There's not like a wrong and there's not like a right about,
How limiting is black and white? Think about that. There's so much limitations to everything being black. There's no beauty in black and white. We all love a rainbow because of all of its colors.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So there's no beauty in thinking black and white, guys. I mean, just use that basic concept of understanding. So I had the privilege to sit down with the pastor of our church, one of the pastors of our church, and we were just communicating back and forth on different things that we believe in and sharing our backgrounds and stuff. And I asked him this question. That's actually when I answered, put you on the spot right again. And I said, what do you think is the number one thing that keeps people away from Jesus? The number one thing that keeps people away from coming to church even?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you. I asked him this question. I'm asking you.
What do I think the number one thing that keeps people from coming to churches? I think it is, honestly, I think pride. It's their pride that keeps them from coming. And I just mean more so they are going to walk in and feel judged. I think judgment is a big thing, but I also feel that we harden our hearts so hard sometimes from just a bad experience, or maybe somebody that they knew of, had a bad experience in a church or whatever, and then immediately people's hearts get really, really hard.
What do you think, Charlie?
I agree with that.
Yeah. So I was asking, kind of like, wait, very similar. And I think actually we're kind of on the same page. And I said people. I said Christians. The people who are supposed to be disciples, leading people to Jesus, are the people keeping others from Jesus. I say that because most of the Christians that I met, I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be anything like you.
Nope.
And if that means following Jesus, I guess I ain't following, because the person you are is nothing like I want to be. I don't want to judge other people for cursing, for looking at porn, for being different. Judge them and tell them they're going to go to hell because they had sex before they were married. I don't want to be like you.
No.
And I never did, ever. Never wanted to be anything like a Christian. I've always believed, but never wanted to be anything like a Christian.
Do you know what's the craziest thing, too, in the Bible? Is that Jesus didn't hang out with those people. And that is what I think is watered down so much, that a lot of people who don't know God and don't know who this Jesus guy is or whatever, they just think, they look at him as one of those Christian, judgmental, in the Bible, Pharisee type people, the religious doers, the ones
Jesus
who
came
didn't
against,
keep the law, the ones that like, well, she had sex out of marriage, or she this or she that, you know, so she's then condemned forever. And that was who Jesus crossed his legs, sat on the ground, and chit-chatted with, were those people. And the people that he yelled at, the people who killed him, were the religious doers, the people, the judgmental Christians, quote unquote. They were the ones who put him on the cross.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I, you know, when I knew Zach's background of why he didn't, you know, go to church and everything, I knew that was the biggest reason, because that is the church I grew up in. The church I grew up in, literally, I don't know, the only way I can explain it is God was just ravishing after my heart. It's the only way I can say that why I ever walked into Traders Point and why I stayed, because there was something that he was doing inside me, because not one example around me was what Zach said was what I ever thought I wanted. It was perfection. It was, you can't this, you can't that, don't do this, don't do that, this is how you have to live, this is how you can't, you know, all these different things, and judgment of this and judgment of that. And so that was the biggest thing, like when I just could understand Zach immediately, because I knew it, and it crushed me, because once I started to really realize who Jesus was and what then these people have made it out to be, it's just so sad. I mean, people don't really know, but they have just been poisoned by what all these other people have just made him out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%, you know, and just to encourage you guys, you know, if that's how you feel, maybe try somewhere new.
Yeah.
Maybe go somewhere different.
Or listen to podcasts, because here's the thing, when you're
Furnick,
brought by a church, maybe the last
Furnick.
thing you want to do is walk into a church.
Right.
So start just letting God speak to you in other ways, and then open your heart a little bit more, and, you know, really keep a realistic outlook that we're all broken, and so that these people who are judging and all these things, it's almost like have an attitude, don't let them in.
Yeah.
Just feel sorry for them.
That's where I'm at, you know, when people judge, like,
man, that's got to suck to be you, that you got to tell me that I can't this because I've had a divorce, that I can't this because we lived together before marriage, that I can't this. That really, you have to judge me that much from something you have broken.
You're burying
in your own
something
life.
so deep. You have something so deep.
You need to keep me in order to keep yourself feel better.
Yeah, you have something so deep you're struggling with, so deep that you've buried inside of you, that in order to make that feel less than, to make yourself feel better, you have to put someone else down by trying to tell them where their eternity is. Mm-hmm. That's what turned me off with Christianity, because I am anything but what I guess a Christian, quote unquote, would be or would have been. Totally polar opposite. You know?
I remember there was the prodigal son. It's a really, really quick story. Basically, there's two sons. One kid decides to take all their wealth and go spend it basically in Vegas. The other kid just does everything he's supposed to do and stays home and does the farming and all these things. Well, then basically when the wild son returns, the dad is just over the moon. Like, he's so happy that he came back. Well, in this old church that I went to, I had a small group, and I will never forget sitting there with 20 people. And they were like, who do you side with more? Who do you understand more in this story? And every single person's hand went up for the son that was at home, basically, quote unquote, doing everything right and all these other things. And I was the only one who raised my hand for the lost, the broken, the hurt, because I have such a, I don't know, it breaks my heart to see people feel that other people can tell them what their worth is, because that was something that was done to me, that I want so bad for other people to feel now what I feel. But I just remember sitting there and thinking, and all they could say, well, we just don't think it's right that if you were to go truly and blow your entire inheritance, that then, this dad would
missed the
welcome
whole
him
point
home.
of the story.
And the whole point of the story is God actually using it as like, he cares about you, the 1%, the one who's lost. Yeah, he cares about you. He just wants you to come back. And that son who's doing everything right, he's all about morale.
It's the sheep. It's the sheep that God leaves the 99 for one.
Yeah.
That one that strayed away. Mm-hmm. That one that went off on his own and went crazy, did whatever. He got lost in the woods. By lost was sin, and the world took him over. God leaves the 99 who are perfect, who have their life, quote unquote, figured out, and goes after the one. That's hope.
Yeah.
That's big hope.
And for that, the son that came back literally said, I'll be your slave. Yeah. Because I know that is how dirty and low you look at me. And he said, no, you're my son. And it's just such a beautiful story, because that's what I just hope that everybody out there who, if you're in a position where you're in the heat of a divorce, or your kids hate you because of that separation, or you're battling an addiction, and it just, whatever that might be, just know that like he is just running after you. And that's the beautiful part of the story, is the dad sees him from afar and he runs after him. So you're never too gone, you're never too far gone to be rejoined with your heavenly Father, ever.
Man, I can't. I just got coached. I was thinking about this, that people who are going through separations right now and extreme adversity in their lives and things that I've never been in a 30-year long marriage and it ended. I've never been in something like this, or something that you thought was sustainable and was going to last. And however, when I watched my mom go through her divorce, both divorces, both times, my dad beat my mom, cheated on my mom, alcoholic, drug abuser. My mom's next husband, Dave, cheated on my mom after 12 years of marriage. My mom was faithful, loyal, phenomenal wife to him. Cheated. I watched my mom. Her morale never changed. Her happiness never changed. She was still always so and that was so encouraging to me, to watch her go through so much adversity and for her to be hurt. I knew my mom was hurt. She would cry. And she'd say, it's okay, bud. We're going to make it through this. It doesn't matter what's going on right now. We are going to be okay.
I love
and that was always so encouraging me, to show me that no matter how low, we were poor, living off the government. My mom was working 3 jobs. We're on food stamps. We're selling food stamps. We're just trying to live. And she said, we're going to be okay. There's brighter days ahead. And they're here. And that with me was so encouraging, and encourage any parent living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 kids. Encourage you that your kids, you might feel very low of what society puts you at, but I'm telling you right now, with your morale, and if you're positive, your kids are going to look up to you one day. It might not be today, because they don't understand, because they're so caught up with being 12 and 15 and caught up with the world. But one day they're going to look back like, wow, look what my mom did. All the cards were stacked against her. The cards are stacked against him, whoever it is. And they were able to still make positivity out of this life. That is going to go so much further than any $20, $50 movie ticket you can buy them, no matter what car you can buy them. It's those morals and values that you distill in your kids. That's why I'm the person I am today. I was talking this morning with Andrew, and he's like, I don't get this about you. He's like, you just find a way to always encourage people. He goes, you've never put a ceiling on anybody. He said, except for a squad. Because you just don't put a ceiling on. He goes, everyone you talk to, you feel like they have this the utmost potential. I said, because it's my mom. I didn't even miss it. I said, my mom did that. Yeah. I was 100 pounds soaking wet, and I'm like, I'm going to be a fighter, Mom. I'm going to box. She goes, hell yeah, you'll probably be world champion.
I can so see her.
My mom, just like, she's such the encourager and motivator. She never put a ceiling on me. If I said I was going to do something, she was like, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're going
to. She already
to.
saw it. She already visually saw it.
If I envisioned it, she envisioned it. She believed full in me. She didn't care how many cards are stacked against me. And I just want to encourage you all, everyone, no matter if you're a mom, a dad, a brother, sister, single guy, by yourself, just encourage people.
Yes.
Not to put people in a box. Don't put a ceiling on people. Because when you let people outside their box, it's amazing what they can achieve.
And sometimes I think they're testing to see if you are going to put them in a box. A lot of parents out there are like all stressed. Oh, my son wants to go to film school, but that's a hard road for him. You know, I mean, I think him being a dentist is a way smarter option. And so we're just really telling him that that's just not the wisest thing, you know, whatever it might be. And it's like, man, you know, too, it might just be like your son testing you to see, do you believe in him?
Yeah.
You know? And
if not, now he knows you don't.
Exactly.
If it's not a test, now he knows.
The rest of his life, you have to be prepared for him consistently doing everything he can to try to prove himself to you. Not because he really even probably wants to do certain things, because you've just never really believed in him. And you've always tried to create his future for him because you think you know what's best through your eyes when you don't know anything what it's like through their eyes.
That's so common for parents, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I can't tell you how many college kids I talk to on a daily basis. Emails,
same.
text, DMs, Snapchat messages hitting me up. Man, my parents want me to do this, and I'm just really feeling like I should do this. What do you think I should do? I always start, your parents love you, and your parents want the best for you. Mm-hmm. And know that that's why they're coming with this insight, with this encouragement of doing this, getting the safer route. They want you to have job security. They want you to have a 401k. They want you to have a life maybe that they have or they want to have. Right. And it's from a place of love.
Yes.
But you also need to understand that if you really do love your parents, and I'm sure they really do love you, that if you don't do your own thing, you're going to grow old resenting them.
Yes.
And you're going to hate to go to Christmas. You're going to hate to go to Thanksgiving. And if that's the relationship you want with your parents for the next 40 years, do what they say. Right. Or if you want to have a quality relationship with your parents and you want to find happiness for the next 40 years, you have to find something within you and say, Mom, Dad, I know this is not the smartest route. I know why you want me to go to school to be a dentist. I understand this. But I have something pulling on my heart that I just have to try film school. I just have to try it. I don't care if you pay for it or not. I'll take out the student loans. I'll do all this myself. I just have to do this for myself. And if it doesn't work, I'd be more than willing to try dentist school after. Yes. You know, and if your parents still disagree with you in that point, because there's going to be like, yeah, Zach, I tried that, and they still disagreed, then you still got to do what you want to do. You might I know it's hard to displease your parents. Oh, yeah. I know it's hard, but at the end of the day, your parents aren't going to live. They have 20 more years left to work or 10 more years left to work, and they're retiring. They ain't got to live the next 50 years in that miserable job that you didn't like, living just for finances because that's what you thought happiness was. Also understand if that's the thing, and you look at your parents and say, hey, Mom, Dad, I understand you want me to do this because a dentist makes good money and there's a lot of job security there, but I don't find my happiness in money and job security. I find my happiness in making film. Yes. And get that real with your parents. Don't just get emotionally upset. Mom, you never this, or Dad, you never this. You know, it's childish. You know, you got to be adult. If you really want to make an adult decision and you want to do something that they don't support, then you need to sit down and have an adult conversation with them. Yeah. You know, and here's the thing. Hotel Transylvania 3, it was like the greatest quote, but he said, you know, you have to respect your past, but we create our own future. You know, and that is so true. You know, basically letting your parents know, I respect you. I understand why you want this life for me. I get it. But my future, it's my future. And I need to discover these things on my own. You know, and that's like, I really feel if a parent were to hear that versus like you just went to prom and got busted for drinking and now you're telling, you think you know what's best for you. You know, you got to also put that in perspective. What's been your track record with your parents to where that, you know, they might come across that way? Not saying it's right or anything, but at the same time, what Zach said, they always have your best. Parents love you, you know, they do. And there's so many times where I watch myself getting so mad at crew because I'm like, dude, you just don't get it. It's because I love you. And then I'm like, crap, I'm it's just a parent thing. Yeah. So, you know, you just also have to remember when you're going to your parents and you're saying something like a totally different career change or whatever, and you want their support, you have to be strong enough to know that you might not get it, but also you have to respect them enough to share and tell them why you need this for yourself and that you are affirming why they are fearful of things, but you just really need to make them understand that it's your future and you would love nothing more than their support from that. Yeah, So. Yeah, one more quick story. Yeah, let's hear it. So, like you just said, like, what was your track record? So in high school, I had a pretty bad one. Same. Partying, doing the thing. My mom was she knew though. My parents didn't. Yeah, and like your parents, they don't know half the shit still. I'm like, all right, you guys fucking kidding me? They still don't. Yeah, I'm about to start telling everyone everything. My mom knew everything. And I'm coming up home with tattoos on my ass and shit. Like my mom, she thinks these stories are hilarious now that I'm not a crackhead or something on the street. That I actually made a little bit of myself. But I was dealt with a lot of adversity, and I was ornery, and I enjoyed partying a lot around this age, and I was kind of working through that and running away from home in a sense. And my sister was more the one that like stayed and shit, and I think that sometimes why like there was friction in our relationship, because I was running and doing things. My sister's like, well, Zach's always partying and stuff, and he's the bad one, and I'm always made out to be like this, and mom was always kind of after my heart. And I went to jail on senior week. Was arrested again a few months later, peeing on a church. God bless. And partying, pills, like I said. Talked to my mom about all this stuff. And through all of these times, my mom still encouraged me, still believed in me, still didn't lose hope. And I think it's this thing whenever people begin then to lose hope for their kids or lose hope or for whatever it is, through all this adversity and all these challenges, she still believed, and she had every right not to. Yeah. And that's truly why I'm at where I'm at today, because she didn't try to smother me during that time. She could have been
run your life.
She could have ran my life. Said, you know what, you're going to college and this is what you need. She didn't. She said, well, what do you want to do, Zach? Like, what are you feeling that you're supposed to be doing right now? What are you passionate about? What are you spending? I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Yet she was still there, just like, it's okay. People fuck up. People make mistakes. It could have been from her past. My mom's been in jail a couple times, once or whatever. How many times she's been? I don't know. But got in trouble and with the law before and had challenging times in her life. So she gave me grace when I was at my all-time lows. She loved me anyways.
That's so amazing.
She never once screamed at me for going to jail. I called her at 2 a.m. She's like, what happened? I went to jail. She goes, you okay? You out? Like, I'm out and I'm okay. She goes, well, don't go back. Okay. She's like, are you going to be able to come home? I'm like, yeah, I'm coming home a couple of days. So I'm going to party for a few more days. She's like, well, just don't go back. Okay. We'll talk about it when you get home. Everything's, as long as you're okay, it's good. Just be careful. I'm like, okay, mom.
Well, and sometimes it's like, maybe you're like, man, I wish my mom was like that or whatever. But maybe you have, like, for instance, my sister and I, it's kind of like how you explained it, your
like
sister.
A saint.
But we had totally different, like she did the same thing. Like she, everything was perfect. Like her idea of a Saturday night was like, oh, movie night with my friends at mom and dad's, and mom and dad would watch with them, and, love you, Steph. But that was the truth. And, where my ideal of a Saturday night was like, I'm going to go get stoned with my friends, like didn't ever tell them, because I was telling them I was going to have a movie night with, Lauren's parents, you know what I mean? And they believed me, like, whatever. But like, I can remember a specific time where, and I'll never forget this, and I've told you this too, babe, like Dave and Stephanie, like it is seriously so funny, because my sister and I are the most polar opposite people, but we like are so connected too. We are just so for each other. And there was a time in my life that I'm just not going to talk about right now, but where I really screwed up, and my mom was just about done with me, because I get it, here I'm 27, still screwing up, 26, however I was. And she said, Mom, do not get mad at Ashley. Like, do not. Just give her grace. And my mom told me that. And because when my mom then had to approach me with the situation that I had gotten myself into, she was just so understanding. And I really truly feel like, not to put that pressure on my parents at all, but I really truly felt like it was in that moment when I finally watched my parents just basically say, it's okay. Like, it's going to be okay, Ashley. Like, it's fine. You'll like, I felt like they were then giving me that grace that my sister
Acceptance.
Always like was just trying to understand me. And like, even though they couldn't, because I get it, the child they had just raised before me was 180 degrees different than me. And so that's something too. If maybe you don't have that parent, we all have that friend. Maybe it's a mentor, maybe it's a teacher, whatever that might be.
Maybe it's the Zach Hummel show.
Maybe it's the Zach Hummel show. Don't subject that to just it being like, well, my mom doesn't this, like Zach talks about all the time, like his mom is like his biggest cheerleader, and it's basically all in a sense that he had, where there might be people out there that don't have a mom, but you might have, a brother who loves you, and you just constantly just take for granted that he's just there. You might have, an aunt who's constantly trying to be in your life, but it's not a mom, so you just don't, you just push it to a side when, there's people in your life that can still build you up and still encourage you and give you grace and give you that push that you need for the life that you're meant to have. And so like Zach's story is a great example of how maybe it's not your mom, but there can be somebody of that magnitude in your life really steering you that direction and cheering you on.
Mic drop.
Boom.
Love that. This is a blast.
Yeah, I know.
Really
I had to look
picked up
away out
speed.
the window a few times and not talk to him because I was truly going to start crying. And I have an ugly cry. Like, I can't, right? I can't talk through
love
my
your
cry.
cry.
I'm like, like, I can't talk for like 10 minutes. I have to like, okay, I'm good now. So I just have to like stare in the corner. I'm sure he's like, oh, babe, thanks for being like really sentimental right now. I can't even look at you. But yeah, it was really fun. I liked it.
So that's one challenge. If you're any avid listeners out there to the podcast, so we have, we averaging a few hundred downloads, up to 1,000 downloads an episode after time. So, at least 1,000 people end up listening to this podcast. Our last one has like 500 plus downloads already since a week ago. And so 500 people in the next week. And I think maybe 1% will do this. So hopefully y'all prove me wrong, is to reach out to Ashley or I and say, hey, I encouraged my significant other or someone I had a really close relationship with in my life right now and told them a few things that I really admire about them. And let us know how it goes.
Yeah. I think it's a really simple request. And I think it should be more than a text too. If you really can make that phone call,
Yeah. And
really put yourself out there, you guys.
And
face to face, phone call, whatever.
You know what, too? Let's cut the phone call. Let's do FaceTime. If
Yeah.
you could if they ain't got a whack ass Android, tell them to get their game up. Try to do it in person.
No green text messages.
No green text messages. FaceTime. I love FaceTime, and we FaceTime all the time. I mean, almost all of our calls are FaceTimed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more intimate. You know what I
Yes.
mean? You have to look at the camera, you have to look at the person. So look at yourself. It's weird. It'll be all right. But we're doing it in person. Like Ash said, I think it's really cool. Maybe write a letter to your aunt or uncle or grandma, something. Just tell them, a few things that you really love about them. And guys, I'm telling you, it's a momentum building thing, and you feel so good after.
And you have no idea what that's going to mean to them either.
Simple act of kindness.
Okay, I have my challenge. I'll make sure to share it next week.
I love it. Good. Guys, thanks for tuning in. If you like the episode, leave us a 5-star rating. Give us a comment on it if you're enjoying the content. Appreciate it.